Hello, this is the Modern Insulator Collector, aka Angry Birds Freeze King here, and today isn't my usual Insulator Collection video. Part 3 will be here soon, but real quick I'll tell you about that. Today I'm gonna show you guys something, but let me explain the other thing first. I'm really close to getting the basement done. We're only working on one half right now because my insulators are currently outside my insulator collection, and I'll show you that real quick. I'm out here. So this is our backyard, and we got some stuff. Excuse me. My insulator collection, ooh, that tarp's coming off, is currently outside still. There's some insulators. Oh, yeah, there's webs. It's not gonna rain, so I don't worry about it. And they're outside still, so I want to get these in as soon as I can. A lot of the stuff you see here is a lot of stuff that you've seen, and a quarter of this stuff, like all this under here, are literally just crates and crates of insulators, and I have more stuff inside, of course, but I want to get them moved in as soon as possible because, you know, fall is going to be coming up soon, and I'm glad I don't have to go to school this year. And I'm going to be getting a job soon. I'll be getting a lineman job, by the way, so yes, I'm going to join the lineman career. It'll be awesome. Maybe I can see some insulators, hopefully. There's a big power line out front. Unfortunately, the insulators here in Cincinnati are all alike. We don't really have a lot of unique power lines, but we have some. And yeah, I'm just mudding the walls right now, and we got to get them sanded. And then we're going to paint, and then once that one half's done, the other side won't be finished, and you'll see in the third video probably, but at least getting it finished so I can get my stuff inside and worked on. Now, I mentioned doing an insulator collection video outside, but I don't know if I really want to do that, especially because it's hot out, you know, in the summertime, and I know summer break's coming to an end, but here in Cincinnati, 80 degree and 70 degree weather lasts until I think mid-October, so it's going to be, realistically, the summer is still going to be here for a while. But, yes, I will keep you updated with that. But today, I'd like to show you some things I like to do, and I think you guys might be highly interested in it. Now, I know a lot of people are into modeling, you know, like model railways, you know, and I definitely enjoy doing that. I have a large-scale train set out here, and as you can see, I'm a Thomas and Friends fan. I got some troublesome trucks, and that's actually a Santa Fe caboose, and then the Northwestern Railway. So that's the Thomas products, and their Bachmann trains. It's going to be Powerline related because I'd like to show you one of my favorite things I like working on is these power lines here. And I know the road looks like it's not finished. These are rough shingles cut down to proper G-scale road. And what I'm going to do is get some like Flex Seal liquid, and I'm going to put some things on the side and just pour it in, so it'd be like almost like a tarmac. And I'll get some special outdoor paint mixed with some yellow, and then I can, you know, paint road lines or something. Anyway, but here you can see I got some power lines, and this is down right now. Some of these poles I had to take out, and I know a lot of you guys who probably, I'm sure some of you out there like to model this stuff, and there are people who definitely make their own models. I've seen plenty of photos online, people doing HO scale power line models, and they're really, 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 really good. And I just like to show you and share with you my stuff that I like to build. And you may be wondering with these poles, are they? Ooh, a mosquito's on me. Hopefully I don't get bit too much. Probably have to put some spray on and cut the video off. A lot of you guys are probably wondering whether these poles are actually standing in the ground or not. Well, yes, they are. And I'm sure you're probably now asking, well, how do you have them in the ground without them, you know, without the wood rotting, you know? And that's something I'm definitely going to share with you guys today. Now, my model power lines out here, I know a lot of people, you know, make model power lines, and they do make them look realistic, but they're not always set up realistically, and that's okay, you know, because a model doesn't have, you know, models don't have to be made perfectly. But the way I like to do my power lines are very sophisticated with them, you know. I like to have every real component on these power lines. And real quick, I will mention something. There's going to be a power station here. That's actually like a sand play table, you know, that kids play with. I'm going to modify it. And I don't think it looks too bad. I think it looks like a little power station. It has a big sun on it too, so you know that could be like an energy type symbol. I have this area is going to be a power station. And another quick thing too, we're going to be moving in a couple years, so I actually have to I have to actually move this town, like rebuild it. Like what I want to do is I want to move this model town, but unfortunately I can't dig under it, you know, and pick up a big chunk of the ground and carry it like that, you know, like I don't know if you've seen that one movie where the kids get that board game out and then their house, you know, is in space and then like, you know, this like picked up from the ground. You know, I can't do that with this town. I mean, that'd be really, really hard and probably cost money. I don't even know if you can do it, but I have to blueprint everything. And when I mean move, even though I'm not really moving this town, I mean I kind of am, because what I'm doing is I'm tearing it down, but moving everything. I'm going to keep everything, all the grass mat, and all the parts. I'll probably have to lay new rock, but I'm going to rebuild it in a new location. And our backyard's only so big. I mean, it ends right at where those other power lines, that like 3-phase type thing is way back there, and there's another property over there. And this is just our backyard, and we've been living here a while, but my dad wants to move, and I want to move too, and we'd like to get a big property with probably a lot of acres. I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 acres, and that would be amazing for me because I'll have almost an unlimited amount of building space. Hopefully we can get more. I won't keep bragging about that. I'm not trying to brag if I sound like I am, but I just want to get a lot of property so I can have room to expand. And this is just the beginning of what the town's going to be. All this, I mean, I need to lay grass mat right there. Of course, I'm kind of paused on everything right now because we're going to be moving soon. But yeah, over here it's going to be like houses and subdivision, and it'll look cool. And maybe in the future I will do a video. But yeah, so there's like a little farm right there. It's just going to be separate from everything. I got a lighthouse and everything, and there's going to be some houses in here. And I got a wind farm. These are cheap windmills. You can get these from like the dollar store. Unfortunately, my dad has to be careful when he sprays bug spray, because yeah, see now the pink on that's faded, and that's because dad sprays that stuff and alcohol eats everything. And then over here you can see this 3-phase I got installed, and it's all overgrown right now. Here I'm gonna actually do an airfield for my drone. And I don't know if you guys watch my Thunderstorm account, but if you type in frozen lightning, I do lightning videos. There hasn't been a lot of storms here in Cincinnati, so I haven't really been able to record anything, although I might upload some stock footage video. But if you haven't seen that, if you don't know, I have a storm account. Check it out. If you like weather and thunderstorms, I have some pretty good content. You know, I only have a few subscribers, so if you like those videos, you know, like and subscribe. Anyway, let's move on. Yeah, we're gonna have an airfield, and eventually I have this whole area, which, I mean, the future isn't gonna be here, it'll be different. You know, we'll be in a different area, but this area, there's gonna be a city right here, a model city, and it's gonna be all real and realistic. And then there's going to actually be a road that connects right here over a railroad crossing, and then that road just ends. So I have a huge expansion project in the future, but that's not going to be for a couple of years. But it's planned out, and I will be so happy to have it and love it, and I'll probably do some videos with it too, for sure. But yeah, that's technically my town. This area I just did right here, and where the dirt is, I got to put trees, just kind of like a tree line. There's going to be a big metal windmill. There's a post to it. But anyway, let's get on to our main focus, which is our power lines. So, back to that question that you guys are probably asking, and probably been waiting all video long for me to talk about. Out of these power lines, not rot when they're in the ground. Well, okay, they will kind of rot, but what I do is, you know, I dip these in oil. So what I buy is I buy like the square dowels for the cross members. There's of course different sizes. I buy like the half-size popsicle sticks for the supports, and of course I use thumbtacks for the insulators, and those ones are nice. They look like pin insulators, and you know, I have a tension insulator installed, and you can see it's a bead. It's pretty cool. And there's no spool, but I do use spool insulators. This is just at an angle, so there's kind of like that, you know, like metal bracket type thing, although that's not what that is, of course. See, there's like a spool, you know, like a spool type thumbtack insulator, and then there's another tension on there. And of course the transformers, they're made out of, if you've never heard of K'NEX toys, you know, they're, that's what they're made of. That purple thing would be like the cross, you know, like the cutout, not cross member. The white thing behind it would be the, be like your lightning arrestor, and then, you know, power, I guess, goes down into there and it jumps out. I know a lot of you think that does not look realistic, and you're totally right. This is something I did back in 2014 when I was first experimenting, with these. I had actually made power lines out of K'NEX before. Actually, when I built this town, was started out in 2016, and originally there was something else here, although I'm not going to get too into detail with that. There was like a different kind of town, and it was definitely kind of shitty, but that's for another story. But anyway, I cleared it all out, and this was all dirt at one time. Like, nothing was here. It was none of this building and stuff were here. It was all, the only things that actually were here were power lines. And in 2016, when I built this, I wanted to go for a more realistic approach with this town and make it like a real model town, and I wanted it to last. And actually, the town I had before, it was so bad, the winter weather just tore it up completely. And fortunately for this town so far, this town has done a good job at lasting, although it can be a lot of work. I have to maintenance this thing all the time, or at least keep an eye on it. Not all the time, but quite often. See, like this road, like actually I just installed this road, and as you can see right here, there's already a weed sprouting up right under it, and I just actually sprayed all this stuff. It's bad in the spring because everything you know how everything in the spring explodes, all this stuff explodes. Of course it's the end of summer and not everything, nothing's really blooming fast right now. But yeah, I want to go for a more realistic approach, and I was still using K'NEX poles, and all these wooden ones you see right now were not actually here before. They were made of K'NEX, and I actually have some, because I'm bringing back some old ideas that I used to have, and I want to, you know, preserve some old things. So when I do my expansion projects and I do videos, you might see in the future that I'm using those, even though that's an old design that I really don't care for anymore. But it's just, you know, I'm bringing ideas back. I'll explain why, and I guess later in the video. But yeah, so all this, they were all K'NEX poles, and I eventually started laying down grass mat, you know. I got all these tree things right here, actually from Christmas trees. They're all the branches. I actually took them off, and they look really good, and they're pretty convincing. And you can see that little pole right there. It's covered in ivy. I decided to do that. Yeah, and these power lines that were before, and once I had everything in, they were still K'NEX poles. And as I was aiming for that more realistic look, so I finally made a decision to switch over to wood. And the thing about wood is, these poles I would have to put more work into, and I'm glad I did, because I actually enjoy building these poles, and not only that, they look real, and they're very convincing, to say, you know, that's all I can really say. And I just love these. So yeah, I replaced those like the first 2 months I had. I started this town back in March of 2016, and I think by the time it was April, this town was really starting to expand and the way it looked. And you know, finally at the end of the year, I had all the grass mat down in every single place, so this was all finished except for all this mat back here, of course, on the edge. That wasn't even done yet, but everything in the middle was done and the front was completed, and it was really good. And but anyway, I know you guys probably wanted me to talk about those. I know I said I was going to talk about them the other 2 times, so I'm going to now talk about them. So yes, I soak these poles in oil and they last outside, but unfortunately the top part lasts, but the bottom part in the ground doesn't. The oil will seep out, and you know, while I'm doing all this stuff, you know, it's all trial and error, you know, and I learn, you know, some things work and some don't. See, this pole was the very first one I put up when I finally switched over to wood. This pole right here is newer because I actually just added all this stuff right here, except for that one. That one's been out here 2 years. That one's been out here 2 years. That one's third. That one's new. You know, I've had to replace quite a few of these poles when I first, the first ones I had to put in, because I started to learn that the oil would seep out in the part, you know, the pole that was in the ground, and you know, there was no oil in it, so there was nothing to preserve it. So then the wood would just start rotting. And this one right here, luckily, it actually kind of snapped at the bottom, but it wasn't terrible. So what I currently do now is I put on 3 layers of black spray paint at the bottom, and you can actually see some of the leftover I overdid. And what I also do is I put clear coat on. And for the poles that actually have wood, when I take out some of these poles, the wood is black and rotting, but it's like not to where I can squish it, so it's still solid. So some of them I can just, you know, spray paint. Like with these ones, I'll do a few layers, and what I'll do is when the paint's still wet, I'll actually put tape on it, you know, electrical tape, and it'll press that paint in, which is good, because then it's kind of forcing the paint in the wood, and that paint has a lot of stuff in it, which is going to kill all that stuff anyway. So these poles are going to be preserved. And yeah, and you can see that split. When I first started these, they were slightly bad, but I've gotten really good at making these in my style. And yeah, so I've been oiling them for 3 years. Of course, a lot of places now will start using chemical treated stuff with the, you know, the copper stuff. And then that's green, and I eventually would like to move over into doing that. Now I don't know if when the part of the pole that's in the ground, if it's going to last or not. I mean, I'll definitely give it a test, but yeah, and then I think these will last longer. Now the oil does seep out of the top parts of these poles when I put them in there nice and orange like this one, but as you can see, this one, it's kind of just standard color. Even though they do seep out, I think there's just a slight bit left in the pole to where like the wood's fine, because like that pole you can kind of press the wood in, like you can just kind of slightly squeeze the wood, but on the top part, the wood is nice and solid still, and it does kind of split, as you can see right there, but it's still technically, it's not like it's rotting away. And I don't know how long they'd be able to last like that until they do start to do that, because wood actually, even though it's, and the reason why I don't think it rots is because it's in the air and it's not, you know, around any of those spots where mold spores can really form. It's just in the air, and I think when it's in the air, it's able to dry it off quickly. So I think that's why the wood lasts above ground, but definitely doesn't underground. So coating it does really help. I started doing it this year, and I'm gonna check them at probably around next year to see how they are. Like I have a new one over there I coated, and when I check them, you know, I'll hope they're still solid, and that'll be good, because then I know that works. You know, it's all trial and error. See what works and what doesn't. And yeah, and if you're wondering about the tension type insulators, I do use paper clips. And it might seem, to you guys, it may seem a little unrealistic, but I like it, and I think it's good for the way I build these. And I've come up with my own. This is not a real company. This is all made up, but you know, it's kind of a thing with my town. My distribution company, you know, because I distribute power around my town, it's called Push Pin Distribution, and I call it that because, well, these are push pins and thumbtacks. So I technically am using office supplies for my you know, my Powerlines, and I do like that. I think it's very creative, and it's cool. You can see too, actually, I'm going to mention real quick. Now I do cut real wood. I use real wood. Like, See, we got these nice bushes here, and as you can see, some of these branches are so straight. And actually, it's nice using real wood because it's more realistic than dowel wood. And some of these are dowels, unfortunately, and they're okay. But I like to cut real wood, you know, make it more realistic. Of course, I have to buy the wood at the store for the cross members. I can't make it homemade. It's kind of hard to do. But that's a metal one right there, and of course the cross members are wood, but the pole's metal. I have a couple metal ones too. Yeah, so Pushpin Distribution is my company name, and I would not change it to anything else. I think it's very good. You know, I used to do Connects Powerlines, and I wanted to do like Connects Power, you know, and actually, you know, I had another idea. You know, my name's Ben. I want to kind of combine the word energy and Ben together, and it's Benergy, you know, distribution, I think I call it. That was like a year ago. I kind of not really grown into that, and I kind of don't like it. You know, I guess it's creative, but I wasn't satisfied with it. I didn't like it. So I finally came up with a good name, Pushpin Distribution, and as far as I'm concerned, I really, really, really like that name. And if this was all real, for sure, like if this was these power lines were actually real, you know, being used out, you know, in society, I would probably call my company that. I think it's very creative, and it definitely makes you very iconic. It's very iconic, and it's very I think it's a very memorable name, as to where, like, I guess Connects would be memorable maybe, but you know, Benergy, that's just kind of a forgettable name. I really don't, you know, I don't think anyone would care to hear that. It's just not. I don't think it's as creative. I think if I made it up then, I think then it was creative back, you know, a couple years ago. But now I've really come to a point where I really made my town really good, and I think I really need to go with a really creative name. So Pushpin is what I decided to come up with. Now, a lot of you are wondering, well, are you going to show how you build these power lines? And yes, I will. I just want to give you a tour of my town. You can see my power lines. I don't always use white, of course, so that red one's faded, but on the left there. I use like black, you know, I use a variety of colors, and I do have different colored paper clips. I have different colors of everything, so, and as you can see, the way I tie them, see, I use like the little ties you can get from Myers. I cut them in half, and they work great. You know, they don't come loose, and if you're wondering, this is yarn. I may eventually switch over to the real wire, but the yarn is okay. The yarn is not bad, and even though these are just models, the yarn, I guess, is fine because it's nice because it's very flexible, you know, and it strings very nice, and it doesn't require, it actually kind of does, actually. It does have a lot of tension, though, when I pull it straight. But this is like your networking cables and stuff. Yes, that is real wire, and that stuff is actually kind of hard to deal with. I always gotta fix that. If you're wondering why the pole's not here, I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, and I got lights down here. Yeah, it's all really cool, you know. I think we'll move on, and I'll show you. And I don't just have those types of power lines, I have higher voltage ones, and I actually have some towers I'm building right now, although I'm not going to build them with like metal. I kind of am going to stick with the Connects design that I have, and I think it's a good design just for those towers. As you can see right here, I have some holes, you know, from like last year that, you know, luckily, I actually did put clear coat on these last year, and they actually didn't get rotten, so what I did to be sure, but the clear coat was scratched off for some reason, and I went ahead and, see, the wood's nice solid. I went ahead and coated it with a couple of layers of spray paint, and I gotta probably put another one on. This one bubbled up a slight bit, but that's okay. On clear coat, just what you can do actually is you can press it down and it smooths it back out. Now see, you can see this wood's a little bit more rigid, and that's because this wood is actually starting to rot. Luckily, it's pretty solid still. This is a single phase. These are all single phase poles. So this is a method I used, and I think, and I'm just now trying it. So hopefully it works. And definitely, if you guys are doing something like I am, you know, hopefully this will educate you, you know, how to model power lines. All right, we're gonna go in my garage. Ooh. I have modeled people and from my town, and I don't know why that's out there. I got some props. Well, that's nice. Anyway, that's not important. There's some my props right there. Our garage is a mess. I'm sorry. I'm sure you remember model trains from my videos. So right there, I've been using them outside lately. There's James. Oh, there's a pole I built. Now, this is a pole I built as if like I'm gonna go over like a big obstacle, or like, you know, this is at the top of a giant mountain hill, and then the wires are going downhill. You know, something like that. This is our workbench. As you can see, I got supports built here. Now I'll give you a quick tour of some of the things I have prepared for my expansion project. If a lot of you live in Michigan, I'm sure you're very familiar with this design right here. If you guys are Powerline fans and you live in Michigan, I know you know this style of pole. And it's not actually exactly scaled to the real one, but this is kind of my scale. There's a big cross member. This is like the big size one that'd be on the bottom, but this one right here, Cincinnati, we use like a medium size. It's kind of an odd size, but it's slightly below the standard, and it's not the smallest one either. And I actually use that. What the Michigan does is they actually this cross member is the other one, but it's actually off center, and it's just, I don't know, it's kind of weird how they do it. There's a single phase. You can see the spools. There's a hook for tension wire, and I got my pins. So when I build these, of course, I cut these out. I cut them out to size, and I do have specific sizes. I have, I think, like 5 different sizes. I have the largest size. I have the standard size, which would be these cross members. I have the size, of course, that's slightly smaller, which is up here. Then I have, let's see, so the biggest one, standard one, medium size. Actually, no, I think I have 4. And then the tiny size, which is obviously this right here. Unfortunately, a lot of places don't use this anymore, and I see poles like this actually being ripped down all the time, and it makes me sad because it's very, I think it's very cool. And I don't know if this is Powerline code or not, but I don't know if you're actually allowed to do this design anymore. Of course, I'm not in my lineman job yet, so I don't really know whether it's allowed, if you're allowed to do a design like this or not. But yeah, I see people. I don't see companies use this anymore. I don't think they like it. I mean, I guess I can understand why. Got some red ones on that one. So I have a couple of these. I got some poles right here now. See here. Now this is real wood, of course. I find the straightest wood I can find, and you can see where the branches may have been hanging out, and I carve all the bark off, and you know, I sand it down, make it smooth, and it's nice because you actually get more wood details than you would on a dowel. And this is real tree wood. Now those bushes I was showing you in the video, this is what they look like, and they're pretty good too. And then I make a flat spot for the cross members. I got these thick ones for 3-phase, and I got some skinny ones. So I got some wood here actually I haven't messed with yet, and I got some metal ones too. I'm not going to touch those unless I need to make a special pole, but I will get this trimmed soon. Those are really thin ones, so all that would be sanded down to something like this. And those thin ones I use for like single-phase poles because they don't really carry a lot of weight. As to where 3-phase, well, you got 3 wires, and I might have a transformer. Here's a pole I rebuilt from an old idea. I've had this actually for a long time. I don't know how long I've had this pole. Let me show it to you. It's kind of bad, but this spool insulator, of course, it wasn't here. When I first started building poles, I built them like this. I would put 2 popsicle sticks together, and then I wouldn't screw them, and I'd actually tape everything together. And then I didn't have wooden supports. I had like straws, and they were flattened down. And then I would have like all these random color thumbtacks. So I got these pink ones still. So this is stuff from like 2000, I think, 10 and 11. This is old stuff I built, and this piece of wood is not treated, and it just, luckily, I don't know how it's so good. I guess I didn't use it very long. But it's kind of, yeah, and it's split at the top. I really didn't take good care when I was making these. It's not focusing, sorry. But yeah, and here's another one. But I like to actually use these because because I'm bringing back an old idea, so I'll just reuse these. And like I said, they break, they break. These are the only two I have left. I had some, maybe I'll put some stuff up, maybe I'll put up a picture of what I used to build. Yes, and here's some other ones. Now, when I do my expansion project, I'm gonna do like a lakeside, there's a lot of lakes up in Michigan, and then, I got houses along them. So I got these blue ones I'm gonna use, and I know these aren't spools, these are pins, but these are light blue, so I'm just gonna use them as those. I don't have, blue ones and spools. I only got like 2. I don't know where I got them from, excuse me, but I'm gonna see if I can. Now to get these specific colored stuff, like I have to go to Staples to get all this blue stuff. I can get like all that white stuff and then like these multi-piece insulators that you see on here, I actually had to get from like Menards. And then the spools I have to go to like a special store to find those. I don't even know what it's called. It's like a box storage store. It's really weird, but yeah, it's building these is not the only thing that's kind of difficult. Going out to buy these is hard too. Myers, unfortunately, this is where I got these from, the white ones I use. Unfortunately, they actually just stopped selling these, and the only place I can get them now is Staples, and it sucks because Staples does sell the same exact look, but they don't sell them in a very big quantity. So they had a bunch of these on clearance, and I got the last few they had. Here's one I'm not going to open until I really need them. These I'm not going to use either. These are stored away. These are set aside. I actually have a container of the stuff I currently use, so you can see it's all thrown in right there. Whoops. This is just a piece of metal that has nothing to do with anything I'm talking about. Yeah, I got standard designs like this. I got these side ones, and I definitely make these as good as I can. Now my design, now I actually use real popsicle sticks for this one. And the reason why I did, because see these center ones, I actually ran out of these, so we weren't at the store. I just used popsicle sticks that I had, but they're okay. Yeah, here's a pretty standard pole. These are kind of, I guess, based off Michigan / like maybe Indiana. I think Consumers / like Indiana Michigan Power. I think they're based off, because Indiana Michigan Power makes them like this. Although they don't put this up this high, they put it lower. But like if you've been to Indiana, I'm sure you've seen poles where like they got the bigger supports, and then like the insulators are moved in the middle, kind of on this like clamp-on bracket rather than like a pin bracket that screws into the thing after the cross member. And yeah, so they're kind of a mix. And of course I use thumbtacks stuff, so it's kind of my, I guess, style design. Yeah, and I have everything positioned, because if you go to a lot of places, sometimes you'll see the spools are all the way down here, and then they're all the way up here all of a sudden on another pole. I at least give it some continuity and make it everything at least look stylish and professional. I like to have it professionally installed. I don't want things off center. Here's some more things I can show you too with these. This is okay. This is going to be on lakeside, so I don't mind these being down just a little bit. But they still gotta be nice and straight and everything. And you can see I got hooks installed, and I have a medium-sized cross member. This one isn't the same size as this guy right here. It's a standard size. You'll see a lot of these ones in Cincinnati. They use these slightly shorter ones, and yeah. And this would be like your neutrals right here, and then probably like your surfaces are running along that. Here's some single-phase poles. You can see I use thin ones, and I like the single phases. They're very easy to make. Virtually all I do is stick thumbtacks in where they need to be positioned, and they're done. Coat them, and they're ready to go. These are more. Now when I do doubles like these, of course this one's just. Now Indiana Michigan Power does something like this, where they'll do like a dead end, and they'll put one set of supports on one side, and they won't do the other. Now I do use that style, but if I'm doing like a wide turn, I won't use that. I do double these up. And here's one that's waiting to be used. You can see there's on both sides. If I'm doing like a turn, if I'm doing an end off, I won't do it on both sides. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. It really depends, I guess, on what the poles are doing and which way the wires are coming in, But yeah, so I cut these. I cut the cross members out. I drill holes evenly for a bolt. I get bolts. They're like screw bolts, and they have a little nut on the end. and I tighten down to the wood. I cut the supports out the sides. I drill holes in these. Don't worry, I do drill holes for the nails, and you have to anyway because if you just hammer them, they're gonna split anyway. So I do drill them. I use like I get nails from Hobby Lobby. They're like wood nails. I have them all thrown in here. They're just standard wood nails, you know, like I go to the, you know, the wood area of the store where, you know, you can get like wooden chests and like stuff, and I just buy those. They're like craft nails, and I use those to nail in to them. And of course I have to make little holes for the thumbtack, so I take one special size thumbtack and make a hole for it, and then when I put them in I can just insert them right away. And yeah, these are hard to make because when I build these, this top part, you know, I have to bolt one side and, you know, nail these all in, and when I put the other one in, I have to take this off and swing it to the bottom down here so it's not up here and tighten this one in, and then I just kind of hope that when I put them all up together that they're even. Usually they are, and they look really, really good. Yeah, and these are gonna be. I have a future project, so that's why those are aside from these, because they're gonna be used for my expansion project. And those are too, so I actually gotta get them put away when I can. Yeah, this size, of course, I'll go back over these ones. I use that's a bigger nail. Of course, I'm not always gonna use that. There's a hole in it. I don't know what I was doing. I use thumbnail, like the thumbnail tacks, and I think I may have one in here. Yeah, I use these for the supports. I actually have a bigger cover, and they go good with the thicker popsicle stick supports. And these poles are really nice too. They're really robust. Like I can't really bend them. They're very tight. They're very strong and very robust, like real poles should be. And that's one thing I actually like about these. So like, let me get a standard size one. So like, here's one. Like I kind of actually can't break them. If you kick them, or if the wires are on them, you kick the wires. I mean, they'll definitely break. You can see I'm putting pressure on it. They're very strong, and they can handle a lot of tension too. They're good. They're really good poles, and they're very impressive. Here's a metal one. It doesn't have the spool on it, but here's a metal pole. It's not really actually made of metal too. It's made of a fiberglass pole. This is like a fiberglass pole. This thing came off. If you've seen my first insulator collection video with those lap multi-piece insulators that were on this thing, this was actually a rod that was connected to it, and it was in really bad shape. Ooh, I don't know why that's in there. I haven't used this yet. This was a rod from it, and the rod was fastened on it. Someone's revving up outside. And I sanded it down, I just used it. And I mean, this will last, so those are my poles I build. And the material to buy to make these, and especially the wood, if you get the wood yourself, it's free. The wood's free, and I mean the thumbtacks and the, you know, cross mirror pieces of wood and the popsicle sticks. This is all very inexpensive. It doesn't cost a lot. I don't think it really costs. I think if I were to buy enough supplies to make all these, I think it really would only cost like under $10 to build these things, and that's really cool, you know. And you can make a lot of them. Here's a big pole. So here's where I soak them. I have all the support wood and popsicle stick, you know, supports, and the oil just soaking. They've been soaking there for weeks, so I don't think stuff will ever ooze out. Yeah, and there's a taller pole. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. I think now I'll go upstairs and show you what I've been working on. Never mind the basement. As you can see, we're mudding. We're getting close to getting this side on. This side's not finished, but we'll definitely work on it when we get done. I finally got an outlet in the middle of the room I can plug in my light shelf. I'm sure you remember this guy. And then, see those lap insulators back there? That's what that metal rod was connected to. It was connected to the grooves on those. I don't know if you can see that other one, but it's really dark. And yes, I will. Yeah, I don't know when I'm gonna. At least we at least need to get this sanded, or sanded and painted. And we're gonna put in drop ceiling, of course. And I probably can actually put that in with all the stuff in here, because that's easier to do. So yeah. I don't know. I don't anticipate to get this basement done soon, but I can at least guarantee that it'll be done before fall. And around fall, I'll be able to do my third video. And I know you guys, if you're watching this right now, are probably very excited. I've been very busy too. So I'm trying to get a job, and I'm trying to get a temporary job too. It really takes time out of you. So so don't be sad if I don't do a video soon, because just remember, I have things I do. I got my own life, and that's just how it is. Someone texted me. Look, it's Mario. McDonald's toys. So here are all my Connects toys. Oop, Mario has come to life. No, Mario, I don't feel super enough to play with you right now. So yes, if you're not aware with Connects toys, I think this toy is a very underrated toy. I think Connects are really good toys. Unfortunately, I don't think they sell a lot of the good stuff as they used to. They used to sell really good sets in the 90s, and especially I think in the 80s. They sold like big Ferris wheel and roller coaster sets, and it's a good toy. And one thing I think that's really awesome about this toy is I can build power lines with this toy. Here is a 3-phase pole I just built, and that'd be like your spool insulator, and you can actually tie right onto that very easily. And so can these. You could just the yarn through it, and yeah, you just put a tie under that second hole right there and to the bottom, and you got a power line with wire attached to it. And let me get another one. This would be like a dead end pole. You can easily tie it, a tie on the end of that and put a paper clip off the end. You got insulator, tension insulator, and then especially in the middle. And you can tie a tension wire too off that little hole that's at that angle spot right there, and just go down to that ground, put a nail, and shoot it in. You got these poles really work good. And they're made of plastic, so they'll definitely last forever. Actually, I think the sun can actually make these get brittle, but I'm not sure. My town is under a tree right now, so if I were to use them, they really wouldn't. And they actually do fade, but I don't think that's a problem. Here'd be like a 2-phase pole, not 2-phase. I meant a single phase. You got your spool connected to the cross member, and then your insulator. If they don't do this design in Cincinnati very often, but I've seen them do it sometimes, and this is usually what they do, although the spool part's facing up, not down. On mine, I have it facing down. So, I don't use this design anymore. I've quit using this, although I'm bringing back some old ideas that I used to have, and then rebuild some old sets, just make them, better the way I now make stuff now. They're going to be real. So I'm going to actually start using these again, although if something breaks or something gets destroyed, well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to replace them with wood poles, because realistically, so like these are already up, and, somebody would think, well, those are how they built the poles a while ago, now it uses wood, so, if I were to actually replace it, I would replace these with wood, but I don't think I'm going to have to change those, because they're really good poles. This is nice too. This actually looks like a pin insulator. Let me get another pole over here that you may like to see. This one's the standard size cross member that I use in my other ones. Those ones had short ones. That's how I used to make them. I used to make them with the short ones, but yeah, these are a little high up, but I can't put them any lower, unfortunately. These look good, and they're easy to tie to also. And these are like pin insulators. Of course, I have some different colored ones. I got black one right here. I think I have somewhere over there. I have an orange one. And I also have these, and they'd easily fit onto those little things that those other ones are attached to. These ones right here. So, oh yeah, I brought this up. Now even though I'm not doing that design anymore, I think I will stick with this design I've been doing for a very long time. I've been doing this since I think 2014, and it works, and I'm trying to get it assembled to where I can get a good shot of it. Here we go. This is like a tower, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna knock those over. This is a tower. Oh, that shot. Well, of course you're not going to turn your head sideways. So, it's very tall. I mean, it's... If I stand up, like here's my head, and then, let me just fix it again. Here's me, and then, you know, you face down. There's the tower. It's pretty tall. They're very tall towers. I'm sorry, let me fix that. And they stick in the ground very good. So what I do is I attach a piece. Of course, I'm going to use a metallic colored one. You know, I attach down here, and then I just poke it in the ground. These actually stay up really, really well. And I actually built a whole ton of these a long time ago and put them outside, and I put real wire on them, and they are just, like, I don't even care if they're made of connects. They just look so good. And actually, you know, even though they're made of connects, I still, I think, look like a regular tower. And one reason why I say that is because you got, like, these section things. Like, if you've ever seen metal, like, structures, they always have, like, those sections where, like, you got all that riveting and stuff, you know, like connectors. Those look like real metal connectors, and they're actually colorful, which makes these really, really awesome. And, yeah. So this is, like, your 6-phase high voltage, not 6-phase. I do not know my terminology today, apparently. It's double 3-phase. It's definitely... I don't know voltage ratings yet of these types of towers, but I do know it is extremely high, and no matter what part of the pole you touch, you're gonna die anyway. As to where, well, you can probably... Something like that you can touch and you probably fall, you know, just falling, you may get, like... You may just be hurt, because something like this, if you were to touch the insulator and the thing, you would be gone. So these are not the type of power lines you want to play around. If any of you out west are watching these and you ever see any of these knocked down by a tornado, you need to be really careful going next to these, because these can be killers, and people say these cause cancer. I guess I don't entirely believe that, although that's a theory, and we're not talking about theories. We're talking about things that I've been building. And I just noticed this and this aren't kind of facing the same way. I kind of made them face backwards on the other one. I don't have some of those full circle ones, so I just use like those ones where you get like the you know, like the different angles, or like the different you know. Yeah, and they're really nice. They stand up good, and they just look like towers. And if you're wondering where I attach wires to, these are very simple, and they're very easy to still. I just wrap a tie on that, you know, bring the piece of yarn right there, and I'm gonna have to use some thicker stuff, of course, because these gotta look like real tension lines, and just tie it, you know. And if, yes, I do tie these, that fell, you know, I put the yarn pieces going along it, and I wrap it once, and then like I wrap around the wire. Yes, it does wrap like a real power line, and I think that's why these actually have lasted for such a long time. And it'd be the same with this. They're going to be tied the same way. And then the ground wire, I would just kind of tie up there somehow. I think I wouldn't route it through there, but I would tie it going through that hole, and at least have this hanging on the side. And I mean, it's, you know, so this is just a standard tower right here, and it's very big. I know. I don't think I can get it zoomed down anymore. My arm is only so long, and I can only reach so far out. But yeah, I like the tower, and they will not stand up on the carpet. It's okay. Put that aside. I have a colorful one right here with the newer connects, and it's pretty amazing. Let's move on over. There's one with some black ones. This would be like your dark lace insulators. I have that power station you saw. It's gonna have a substation on the front side of it. So I have a mini version that would be coming into the substation, and it's about 3/4 of the size as the real ones, the real tall ones I have. So this is like and this is made of the micro connects. Fortunately, these actually could snap very easily if someone were to go outside and walk into them, and actually step on these. Like, these will break very easily. So I don't know if I'm going to use these or not, but they look good, and I like to put these next to each other because these are actually the same size. I wouldn't do a bunch of these in this size just because of how fragile these will be, and I think, like I said, the plastic gets brittle, and these would just break instantly no matter how much force you put on them. But this is just for a substation, and then I made standard size one right here with micro connects, and this one will just be coming into, I think, the substation part 2, and I don't think I'm going to make any more of these. It was very flexible on the top, so I actually had to extend up, because these are not supposed to be flexible, and just connect it right there more, support it. Of course, that one was a small one was okay. I got a whole ton of 3 phases right there, so I'm going to put those aside. And of course, I need one that's going to turn. Yes, I have made that one. This one has a fatter base, and I don't have anything on here, but what I can use is ties, kind of extend them out and then tie them at the end of the tie, and it'll be like little insulators and just, you know, like dead ends, you know, on each side. So this is just a blank one that would be used for an angle. And yes, this will still stand up straight, even having tension going this way. It's nice because no matter how much tension you put on these towers, they just do a good job. So I wouldn't have to actually put any tension wires on it. But unfortunately, and I have one sitting, I think, in here somewhere. Well, let's just say this is a dead end pole. If this was a dead end, I have to put a support on it because these are very bendy. And the minute I start putting tension on these, they will, with the yarn, it'll just go way, it'll just bend way over. So they have to have a tension wire on it. Those don't, and it's obvious why they don't, because they have like a tower type base installed. I'm definitely going to be doing smaller voltages like this going from town to town. Eventually, once I get my first town built, and you know, I might build another one nearby it, you know, I probably could do like a nature trail with model towns around it, and people could like sightsee, you know. I don't know, but that's just plans I have for, you know, my own projects. And yeah, so right now I only got a few of these, but I'm definitely going to make these and make a little substation and sprout 3-phase stuff out. Of course, the 3-phase stuff that's in my town down there is actually all coming off the power station, because that's all for the city area. I'd have to make another one, you know, for country and maybe some other spots, but who knows. I don't really know what other locations I'm adding, other than I'm adding on that town, and then around it I'm just going to put field, and then that's really it. If I want to extend more field and make another town, yeah. But anyway, so those are just all spares I built, and these ones, of course, in my old town I used to make these out of connects, of course, and these I rebuilt all the ones that I had, and luckily I had a few pictures. I took photos and I deleted them, but I didn't delete them all, so I rebuilt some. This one has paper clips, although I didn't do these at the time. There's a reason why I'll have those, and I'm not going to explain right now. So I'm just rebuilding all this stuff, and I probably know what you guys are thinking, and it's probably gonna look stupid, but I think once it's actually in, it'll look good. Remember, this town is being built from when I used to do things, so like you'd have to imagine that this town was built back in 2000, I think it was 13 or 14. So this is the stuff you would still see, and I got some 2 phases that I had, not 2 phases. I keep calling them that. They're single phases on cross members, and this is definitely a thing. Michigan doesn't build their poles this way. Consumers, they don't do them this way, but if you see the old stuff by Consumers, that's how they did them. Consumers tears them down and rebuilds them. They're not going to build them like that, obviously. They're going to put the spool on the side of the pole. They're going to put the insulator on the top with a side mount thing. But yeah, so yeah, that is, you know, that pretty cool. It's pretty cool how I think different places used to do things. I think it's really cool how different power line companies design their poles, you know. I mean, if you definitely do a lot of traveling, you'll see really different styles. And like, they even choose different types of insulators. So like, Duke Energy uses standoff insulators, where Consumers up in Michigan uses these pin insulators, and they use the big sized ones, even though they really don't need them. And yeah, so anyway, those are my projects I've been working on. I guess if you guys want me to maybe put some instructions, do an instructional video how to build some of this stuff specifically, because I even though I did explain, I guess I didn't, you know, I could do like a real tutorial, and, you know, just put down in the comments Although I'm so busy right now, I don't know if that'll happen, but I think it's fun, and I wouldn't mind doing that. So, yeah. And even these connects poles, if you have connects, if you have a whole ton of connects, I'll definitely say this: if you're gonna do model stuff and you have a whole ton of connects, like just, and I actually have more stuff than this, which is kind of crazy. This is taking up the living room. And, oh yeah, I got some model houses. I said I was going to do houses. I got those, but that'll be a different video. Yeah, if you want, I wouldn't recommend getting rid of them because, let me tell you something real quick before I end the video. If you're actually to buy these real model towers in real life, they cost, I think for one made by Laniel, they cost like $35 a tower. And that is really insane. I don't think it's, unless you're rich like Donald Trump, I would not recommend buying those. Just buying them just to do towers. And I'm going to be doing, and this all going to be really realistically set up. So I'm going to be making tons and tons and tons of these towers. So buy tons and tons of these towers would not be a cool thing. I think it would be a waste of money since I already have, I guess if I didn't have these, I guess, the scenario would be different, but I think since I have these, I like these and they look good, and I think it's really cost efficient. You can buy these toy connects at the store and put all these together. Well, Toys R Us is not around, so it's not like you can get, but you'd probably have to buy it offline. I think buying sets offline and building those would actually cost less than, but it's not 100% realistic. If you want to go if you want your thing to be perfectly realistic, then like everything else, it's fine. I don't care if you waste your money on towers, but I am not going to get towers. And if I were to model these actually with real material, I think it'd be more complex. I'd have to use glue and stuff, and these are going to be outside, so, I don't want that to wear out. Those I can take better care of, the wooden ones, but not stuff like that. But, yeah. But if you have a box of connects and you're going to do model stuff like I am, like large scale model, garden trains and garden sets, I would not get rid of these because there is potential with these toys. You can build those towers and they work. If you set them up right, they work. All this stuff is made by me too. I didn't get this from anyone. I made all these towers because I wanted to build these towers, and all that is crafted myself, especially the wooden stuff and those right there. So, but yeah. And if you want me to teach you how to build these, I guess in a video, I can do that. That would be, now I don't have a lot of time to do an insulator video. Now the reason why is because it takes time to get all my insulators out, and I'm busy. But if I were to do a quick tutorial, I actually could do videos like that, and I think I could. And if you guys want me to do that, just tell me down in the comments, like, Ben, just say, Ben, please do a tutorial on how you build these specifically. And if I were to do a tutorial, yes, I would do every design. I would do a dead end design. I would do, they make turn versions where they have the insulators at an angle. I haven't come up with a good design for that yet, but I will definitely be coming up. Since I have everything up here, I'm kind of working with everything, so I will be coming up with that soon. And if you want to see connects poles, of course, I'm not going to really be using those. But if you want me to do a tutorial on those, I can. And the wood stuff, I know you would love me to. I know all this stuff is so good, all the wood stuff. Yes, I will do a tutorial on that, and I think that'd be a more fun tutorial. And I would do every design pole that I do. Yeah. So just let me know in the comments. Just type, hey, can you do a tutorial on this? And I may not reply yes or no, but just say, you guys commenting in general, this helps me think, whether I should do it or not. So, just tell me in the comments. That's really all I have to say for this video. Like I said on my insulator video, I don't know when that'll be out. I have so many insulators. Oh my gosh. Since my last video, I've collected and accumulated so much stuff. It is almost insane. And another thing too, I will let you know is I am going to be doing a giveaway. I've never done a giveaway before. I'm not a popular YouTuber, but that doesn't mean I can't be a nice YouTuber. And I would like to do a giveaway because I have some duplicate insulators that you know, I like them, but I don't need them and I don't want them. And you know, collecting insulator with the amount of insulators I collect, I need room. So giving away to you guys would be very helpful. These insulators would have a nice home, you know, and they, you know, and then it's good on me because, well, I have more room and I can get some more unique stuff, you know. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing a giveaway, and I'm not doing it, and no, I'm not doing a giveaway right now. I won't be doing it until the video. I will say on the video what I'm giving away. I will have displayed on the video what I'm going to give away. I'm not doing a giveaway right now. I don't have time for that. And all my stuff's still put away. Like I said, everything's still outside or just put away inside, and the basement needs to be done. When the basement is done, that is when everything will happen. But until then, everything's been stalled. Not that I can't do anything. I can just do my own thing right now and just hang out. And at least I have time to do these right now, which is nice. But have a good day. Good luck with your insulator collections, and Angry Birds Freeze King / Modern Insulator Collector out. Hello. This is Angry Birds Freeze King. Also, sorry, try that again.